Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client. Welcome back.
Danny.
Well, let's start there. What's the best way to describe Annex Private Client?
It's a part of Annex that really caters to the high net worth, complex situations that have a lot of moving parts. One way I like to think about it is integrating the tax with the estate, which we do at Annex, right across Annex. But this gets to levels where we're worried about estate taxes, where we're worried about how does this flow generationally, philanthropically? How does this all work together? And that's where Annex Private Client really comes into play.
You are the right person to talk about this. According to Fidelity's Millionaire Outlook study, 82% of millionaires are self-made. Easy to think the wrong way about high net worth individuals and families. Plenty of myths we're going to talk about for some insight. In your role with Annex Private Client, you might have heard some of this frustration firsthand. The first millionaire myth is, if you got a high salary, you are set for life.
Yeah, so that is a huge myth on multiple levels. But the first and foremost is what we've noticed, and it's not all people, but people tend to grow into their income. So the key to this, the key to make that millionaire status, right, is savings. What you see from incredibly successful people is this laser focus on savings. They might make a lot, but they sure save a lot. And it's not just 401k. They look at 401k as, yes, it's that tax advantaged opportunity to save, but no, we're doing a lot more saving somewhere else inside of an opportunity to grow so they can reach those early retirement goals.
Millionaire myth number 2, it's all luck. And let me tell you, blood, sweat, tears, right?
It is all about how much they pour into their lives. Let me take a step back. What I mean by that is a lot of these millionaires are actually business owners, and it's blood, sweat, and tears of 10, 20, 30, 40, in some instances, 50 years of pouring their souls into their business and eventually coming out of it with $1 million or more dollars. But it's taken years. It's sleepless nights. It's stress. It's hard. It's travel. All of that is poured into this. So when you see the end game, what you don't see is just like an iceberg, all of that stuff under the water that they had to pour into it to make it successful.
Millionaire myth number 3, you got to make all your money before you retire.
Well, see, that leads to the business owner thing again, because that's so not true. What you tend to see is, yes, they might cash flow really well right before retirement, but really it's after retirement, quote unquote, is all defined and all relative on what you want to do. But when they sell that business, when they finally monetize all that hard work of 20, 30, or 40 years.
Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client, an offering from Annex for clients with high net worth and complex challenges that come along with that. Millionaire myth number 4, you got to have a fancy college degree.
To be fair, a lot of folks do have degrees, but is it fancy? Typically not. Is it high end? Typically not. It's the will and the drive to build a successful business and focus on that and put all your heart and soul into building something successful. That is how they reach these levels. That is how folks have gone from nothing, in some instances, literally nothing, to multi-million dollars because blood, sweat, and tears that they just did year over year over year. Now, yes, college helped, some instances, but some of these folks didn't go to school. I can think about easily a handful of folks that I know that have become incredibly wealthy that didn't end up going to college.
Millionaire myth number 5, they work for big banks, law firms, and tech companies.
Well, I think this ties right back into myth number 4, which is just they tend to be business owners. The vast majority of millionaires, 66% actually, are individual business owners. They started something or purchased something. Think about this in the aspect that it started from scratch. Sometimes they take a huge risk and go out and buy another business that was maybe doing okay, and then they've turned it into something just incredible. And again, a handful of those I've seen just this year where they bought something that was doing well, and over the course of 9, 10, 20 years, turned it into something that was unbelievably successful.
Millionaire myth number 6, success comes easily and early.
I think I've said it all along. It's blood, sweat, and tears. It doesn't come early because you have to put in the work. Yes, maybe there's some luck there that somehow it happened, but in reality, it's hard work day in and day out. It's grinding. It's putting in the effort, and then eventually it pays off. Sometimes it pays off really early if you're lucky, but in reality, it takes a long time to build this. But the hardest thing that you start to see, which I think dives into kind of our last myth, is they don't ever get out of it because they don't know what to do after it.
Myth 7 is they don't have anything to worry about, and really the next one is they got their future all figured out. That's not true.
Yeah, so both of those are definitely not true. When you think about one, they have a lot to worry about, because when we talk business owners might support more than just their family. It might support 10, 20, 30, 150 other families. That weighs on their mind all the time. Is the decision they're making right, not just for them, but for everybody else that relies on that company? The second thing is, do they have it all figured out? Absolutely not. That is why they come to us, because they are really good at what they do, incredibly successful. But do they understand how their decisions, their tax choices, their estate choices impact all of that? That's where we come into play when you look at the wealth strategist team we have at Annex Private Client, to really factor all that in, laser focused, and help build really what is next. And to make sure that myth number 7 and myth number 8, they don't have anything to worry about and they got it all figured out. That's our job to help them get through that.
No matter where you're at, there's a logical entry point to work with Annex. There's Annex Ignite, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client. Website, annexwealth.com. Click that Get Started button. Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client. Thanks for jumping on.
Danny,